Peace, family. So I'm back with another one. Today what I want to do is I wanted to talk to my chosen ones about how your boundaries will consistently be tested. Respect is given. It's not earned. Respect is given. We are extremely highly empathetic. We are extremely respectful beings. And when I hear that statement, like respect is earned, it's not given, I've never walked around blatantly disrespecting people because they haven't shown that they respect me. To me, that doesn't make much sense. You want to treat people how you want to be treated. Initially, at the start, But as you actually process that whole concept, if you say respect is earned and not given, then you have to actually be in a very weird, witchy space internally. And you have to be okay with disrespecting people until they show that they respect themselves and that they do have boundaries. See, that doesn't fly with beings like me, because the way I process, my respect is usually given. And then as things transpire, or you show that, you don't respect yourself or you don't respect me, then respect is subtracted. Respect is subtracted. I never go into situations, places, locations, be around people, and I am disrespectful until they show that I can respect them. See, a lot of these weird spells, they don't really work for people who are really in alignment with the source. It's a lot of generic statements out here that when you actually look at it and process it, it doesn't make sense. There is no natural correlation to the outcome. And if you look at it from the way it was just being explained, then you have to walk around in extremely disgusting energy, and then somebody gotta be physical with you, put some kind of weird witchy spell on you to show that they respect themselves, which is weird because over on this side, that kind of work and magic is used as a line of defense and protection. But a lot of these beings out here, they don't respect themselves. And when you start growing in this space, you'll realize that you kind of take things too personal sometimes to a certain degree. And I just had some recent situations where, I had to stop back and reflect on myself. And it's like, bro, what happens is it initially affects you, meaning that you feel it initially off the rip. If somebody pinched me, poked me, I would feel it initially. But just because I felt that and it looked like their intentions was to hurt me, possibly could have been, right? But the bigger picture, they had something deeper going on within them. If I'm just sitting around watching, one of my little videos that I need to watch, or just doing something else, and I just randomly get hit out of nowhere full force, I can get offended because it caught me off guard. But at the same time, it's like, I would never just haul off and hit somebody for no apparent reason. It's usually justifiable. So when people are attacking you in this manner, and I'm just using a physical representation of it, you have to understand it's way deeper than you. I had recently had some people pop into my life and then start just being weird. Like they pretend to be solid for a couple weeks, which I kind of knew they wasn't, but I just was going to see what's up. Then they do the ghosting thing. But in my world, it's just like, I don't take it as personal anymore, because you don't really understand what's happening out here in today's society. You don't even realize that you'll never run across most men like me in real lifetime that stand as solid on their word and that's trying to reach and give back and help out to this universe as much as possible. I couldn't think of one man in my proximity that's standing as solid on their word as I am, and that's not to toot my own horn. It's just looking at the facts. I put in a lot of fucking work spiritually. I had a lot of long days, nights, weeks, feeling isolated, having to experience those lonely feelings, even if I'm not lonely, just being alone, tucked away, You know, it was a lot that I had to go through in that process to get to where I'm at. So if I want to use my fruits, you know, to kind of help me stay encouraged, you know, if I need to use my fruits to kind of help me maintain my strength or to get more strength, I'm going to. A lot of these beings out here are going to test your boundaries, and they're going to show you how much they don't respect themselves, which is going to reflect off as them not respecting you. You got to remember, when people are disrespecting you and disrespecting your borders, these people don't have a very strong defensive border system themselves. And usually, if you process how these witchy motherfuckers operate, right? We live in a house with the source, right? We take on our accountability, our responsibilities. We clean up the house behind ourselves. We take care of the farms, lands, whatever, blah, blah, blah. This is a hypothetical statement. But then you got the witchy people over here. They don't have a set house. They are more of campers. They like to set up tents. You know, they are more of the Sprinter vans, RVs, which I agree with, but as far as this analogy, that's them. That means that they are quick to roam, run, and escape. You know, there's no established routes opposed from what they have with them in their tents or what they have inside their Sprinter vans or RVs. The more personal you start to take these things, the harder it becomes for you to like grow and raise your vibration frequency where you need it at. And it takes you longer to get out of that spiritual space in here. You know, you find yourself cycling back through those thoughts of like, damn, I can't believe they just did that. You know what I mean? Like, they have a choice between living an unhealthy, demonic life versus living a healthy, respectful life. They don't choose this side over here. And sometimes we get offended or we take it personal when it's almost like it's directed at us. But you can take it as a direct hit or a direct blow. But you gotta understand, like, we on the road less traveled. It's not gonna be a lot of people walking with us. Women, you're not gonna find a lot of men that's standing solid, that's gonna be willing to be a leader. You know, most men is just cool with working a 9-to-5 job, and that's it for them. You know, oh yeah, I went into work today. You know, I'm getting my credit score up, and you know, but then it's not anything else after that. You know, and that's just speaking for the ones that's so-called being productive. You know, because you have to apply time and energy as a man outside of your bill job as far as life. You know, you gotta have a bigger purpose than slaving at a job. Unless it's your own business and then you got some big things lined up that you're working on, you know. And hopefully that correlates to giving back to the universe. Everybody always looking around at like what they could take from the universe. I'm always looking back like, how can I give back to the universe? You know, I respect the universe the same way I respect myself. And the thing is, when you respect yourself and you got them borders, you have to do things the hard way, you know? You gotta let go of people, places, things, even if you're not really wanting to. That's never easy, letting go of things that you don't want to. Even if you know it's not good for you, you know what I mean? It's still not an easy process, but that's part of disciplining yourself and having a little bit more respect for yourself, you know? When I go into the convenience stores, I see all the candy, sugar, snacks, and I grew up on all of that stuff. But for me now, when I go into these stores, I don't walk down the candy aisles, you know what I mean? Like, I stick to my drinks where I go to, and then if I get a snack or something, it's usually like some donuts or something in that department. But it's not as hard of a hit as going in there and getting Skittles, Starburst, gummies, Reese's, Milky, getting all of the other junk foods, you know. My thing with that stuff is, and I'm a little guilty of it, but I do my best at staying away from when I don't know how to, even if I haven't. But if you don't know how to make the food, then you should be a little wary or mindful of it. You know what I mean? That's always been my process. I'm always like, how did they make this? I should be able to make this at home, or I should know somebody that knows how to make this. And that's how the concept of a vanilla wafer got into the store. That's how the concept of a Reese's made it to the store. Stores were naturally farmers markets. Everybody brought their items together for the farmers market. Then as the farmers market did such a great job throughout time, people started expanding out. And you can just see, all right, build here, build there. All right, I'm gonna get my own store here. Okay. Farmers markets bring everybody together, but then when you start getting the actual physical building locations, it kind of stamps you in your space without being compiled with all the other options and choices of all the other people out here that's selling items and things. Your discipline, the respect you have for yourself, the boundaries that you set for yourself, it's never going to be an easy process. Ever, 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 ever. Because a lot of these beings out here in today's society, their first line is disrespect. Their first line is disrespect. So that's why a lot of people start off, if you're a man and you solid in your walk, people going to call you a dick. If you're a woman and you solid in your walk, they going to call you a bitch. You know, that's just the process. That is just the process. But I never identified or had hard feelings towards names that I didn't identify with. I grew up, you know, it was joke time 24/7 in elementary school, middle school. Like, that's what we do, you know. You joke until you could try to break somebody. But we knew it was all jokes, and that just meant that somebody wasn't solid enough to stand in the fire and take these jokes, you know. But that kind of builds your skin a little bit more solid. And being able to have conversations and not have people shut you down in the process, you know, especially when you're speaking of something of more value and substance than pertaining to the everyday nonchalant conversations that we have out here that don't hold any value or weight. You know what I mean? But you just gotta remember, like, it's their loss. They're the ones missing out, not you. What happens is you just feel that power shift. It's always, everything is always about power with the other team, you know. You text them, they don't text you back, it's about power. Now they got the power and control, you know what I mean? Like, you trying to link up and see them, they not giving you responses. That's just all about power and control. A lot of this just has to do with power and control, and a lot of people that's living in that space, you have to understand which playbook they use it, you know. They aren't sharers, they aren't carers. They aren't any of those things. They are the complete opposite. So that's why when I get to these spaces of having to deal with people on personal levels, and because of the space I take up, I've always had people coming up to me in real life, but now it's like I got people in the digital world too, so now it's like double, triple the whammy. So it's easier when you stamp things in place, when you set your feet down from the jump. Because you've already said it and you already shown it in the beginning. So then when it reoccurs again, now you got your fruits from when you first mentioned it to reuse to give you momentum if you feel like you need to give the other beings or people excuses. We give a lot of them excuses for a lot of the disrespectful behaviors they do. And then a lot of us have to sit around and just come up with things in our head like, no, it's okay. They could, you know, they could do whatever they want to do. They could do this and they could do that. Yes, they can. They can. But you got to think of how ill-intended and evil it is, because you aren't the rest of those people out here that's been hurting them. The way I process things, even with my BM, which got me in this space, it's like I really want to learn and figure this out, because I could get away from my BM. Easy to get away from her physically. I still got to deal with her because of my daughter and all that shit, but I could get away from her easy. The tricky part is when you learn this information, it's like you can get away. All right, she's not hurting me in that manner. She still tries to. I'm just saying, like, as far as just speaking of a hypothetical situation and I went through, I could get away from her But then she's still gonna do that to other beings and other people. So that means, what did I actually do? I didn't do anything but just try to self-preserve myself. See, for me, I've always been deeper than that. So it's like, all right, I can stop this bully from hitting me, but then the bully is going to take it on other people. So now I got to show this bully that, look, you ain't going to be touching nobody in my classroom. You ain't going to be touching nobody that's around my space. Matter of fact, don't touch anybody in my proximity. I don't care if I don't even know Susan over there. Don't go bothering her. Because now I'm going to come over there and tap in with you and see what's up. Because that's how I used to be. I was ready to throw them hands. I'd be like, oh, Susan, you good over here? Is John over here bothering you? What's up, John? And I start picking from there. And then from there, it's going to get elevated. You know what I mean? It's warriors out here for bullies. I don't know if y'all know it or not, but it's definitely warriors set up out here for these bullies. And I have definitely been built for this lifestyle my entire life, you know. So just kind of being mindful of these things, of how you will be disrespected, and you shouldn't take it personal. They do this with everyone. They do this with everyone. And it's just like, you got to make sure you keep your borders and your defenses tight. You have to keep those aligned. You got to make sure that you're respecting yourself in the process, you know. And then respecting your process may come with you having to block a punch. Somebody try to swing on you, you don't have to fight them back, but you can block it spiritually or physically. You know what I mean? My daughter tries to hit me all the time. All I do is block it. She hurt herself more trying to hit me than me hitting her. Oh, Daddy, that hurt. Oh, I hit this part of your arm, Daddy. Oh, I hit your elbow. Oh, I hit that part. It's like, yeah. My defense is even tight when I'm playing around with my mini, and it's all love. You know what I mean? But don't take it personal. You know, a lot of these people are going to somewhere very, very unwelcoming after this. A lot of them usually have some weird stuff happening with them after you. You know, we come into their lives and we're that turning checkpoint. What happens is they didn't have people stand as solid as we stood and connected with the source. So now they got to pay for doing us dirty and being disrespectful, and now they got to pay for all the people that they did dirty before us, you know. And then it always comes back 10 times harder, because they're still hurting people after us. They're still doing it. It doesn't stop, you know. You just got to get into a space in here of just be willing to let go. Stop processing those thoughts, stop processing that being, stop processing those locations, you know. And that'll definitely help you stand more solid in the respect that you have for yourself, you know. But I ain't want to run it up too long. Tapping everything down below. Peace and love to the kings and queens.